Yeah. Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast live Wednesday night edition. Yes. And I know y'all see a face that you're not used to right now. My main man Transformer wasn't available tonight, and G doesn't normally do the Wednesday nights, but we got one of our best in the chat, number one member of the channel, Laker Nation. He is here because, well, we got some Cali topics to discuss tonight, and who better than Laker Nation to get on that? So, everybody put your hands together for the main man. Laker Nation, what's good, brother? How are you?
It's good. It's blessed to be on hectic day.
Yeah.
Glad to fill in for you tonight. You know, I got your back.
I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. So we've got some fantastic topics for y'all tonight. Unfortunately, that first topic is kind of a sad one. We're going to talk about JuJu Watkins and her injury and how it's going to affect things and going forward in terms of the women's basketball tournament. We're going to talk about the Lakers issues, as you can see from the rundown. Obviously, the big topic is Pat McAfee and his super guest today, LeBron James. And then finally, we'll run over to the NFL real quick, and that is Russell Wilson and the New York Giants. And, of course, we're going to have a few quick hits for you. So before we get to that, y'all know what time it is. I'm going to give you my little spiel, and then we'll start off with the quick hits, y'all. If you're watching here on YouTube, make sure you go ahead, click that subscribe, that like, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept aware anytime we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you enjoy the content as you listen, make sure you give us a like, a 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. And write it down, put it in your phones, make a note of it. The Format Podcast is live Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. And finally, if you're really and truly enjoying the podcast and you want to help the show continue to grow, make sure you go ahead, click that join button, join the channel. We're going to have some exclusive content just for you. Oh, but let's start with it. JuJu Watkins, man. I was going to say arguably, but I think definitively the best player in women's college basketball. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Yeah, there's a couple others that are problems. Hannah Hidalgo out at Notre Dame is a monster at the point guard spot. She's a beast. Obviously, Paige Beckers at UConn, and everyone was looking forward to hopefully that rematch of UConn and USC in the Elite Eight. But everybody was looking forward
to that matchup. And they got to wait a year for that. I don't think it's going to happen. So I think Paige is coming out not like that, guys. It's going pro after this year.
No, true indeed. But they could have matched up in the Elite Eight of the tournament this year. They already played this year earlier, but that could have been a rematch in the tournament, which would have kind of been like something along the lines of last year's Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, something like that.
Yeah, that would have been. It would have got some clicks and views.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, we look at JuJu, man. Her game is so smooth. It almost looks kind of like a female KD. She can handle it. She can shoot off the bounce. She can shoot off the catch. She can go straight to the rim. I mean, she is a problem. I think she was just a few points shy of having the highest scoring sophomore season in history. I think Kelsey Mitchell holds that record. I think she's like 17 points short. So, she would have broken that record. You see her going straight to the rim there. You see, I mean, she's got it all. Finished through contact. And watching her, she could finish both with the right and left hand, Euro step down the lane right there. Obviously, she got the deadly jump shot. I mean, she is smooth. She works out with Phil Handy a lot, who I know you're very familiar with. Phil Handy worked with, I believe, the great Kobe Bryant and other Laker guys. So, I mean, JuJu she's got the total package, man. She's got the it factor for a female college basketball player. And coming into the league, you can see that everyone's just basically waiting for her to come into the W, right? As we know, Diana Taurasi announced her retirement. Right now, A'ja Wilson is definitively the best player in the world among women, but we see Caitlin Clark is doing her thing. There's a lot of outstanding players in the W. Angel Reese is getting busy, but JuJu is going to be the next one. And unfortunately, we saw day before yesterday, we saw this, and it is tough, man. And it's not only tough for USC, it's not only tough for JuJu, but it's also tough for the women's college basketball tournament. And you can see right there, it looked like she was trying to plant and maybe pull back, pass, or pull up for the jumper, trying to deal with the double team of the opposition getting back in transition there. And you can see the amount of pain she's in. And obviously, a couple hours after that game, it was announced that she has torn her ACL, and it'll be 8 to 10 months on the shelf. And so obviously that's going to be a big hurt to her team, as well as a big hurt to women's college basketball. So Laker Nation, before I start playing some of the sound from Pardon the Interruption on ESPN, and then of course The Odd Couple with Rob Parker, I want to know your thoughts on this, man. Go ahead.
When I first saw it, I thought it was I thought the defender. I don't know the girl's name, but the main defender. I thought at first that she was riding her hip and gave her a little forearm, but looking at that replay, it looked like it just was a freak accident. So the floor maintenance people has some explaining to do.
You think so?
Yeah, because if her foot slid like that, it had to be a slick spot there.
Okay.
They have some splaining to do.
Right.
But she'll bounce. But I think she's gonna. But to me, it was just a freak accident that in the heat of the contest, it's horrible, man. Just prayers up for her. I know she'll bounce back. I just hope she doesn't lose a step.
Well, hopefully not. We've seen a lot of people, these high level athletes are coming back from ACLs better than ever before. The science just keeps improving in terms of dealing with that. The recovery time is shorter and shorter. We know that back in the day, ACLs a lot of times meant the end of careers. So we don't anticipate that'll be the case with her. But also the beautiful thing is she's had the opportunity to make some money, via NIL. So that's love as well. And we just hope that this is not something that's going to end up stopping her in terms of what we're looking for in terms of what she can be on the next level, because we want her to have the opportunity to be that next star in the WNBA and continue to help that league rise. Like I said, her and Asia Wilson and Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and, so many others that are outstanding ballers in that league. So we don't want to lose one that's going to be a tremendous addition to that. So let's go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I remember who it was. Because I would say it was Sabrina.
Ionescu.
That's her name.
Ionescu
had a similar injury while she was in college, and came back the next year, and she got back. I could be wrong. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember who it was. I'm trying to remember it off memory instead of doing. I don't have no notes here.
Got you.
Be more prepared.
Yeah.
But I think it was her. If it's not Sabrina, forgive me. Don't try to sue me for slander. But we've seen this happen before, and she bounced back. That rehab is not going to be easy.
No,
but I think she'll be fine.
I heard Chris Canty say that he was told if you're not crying during your rehab, you're not doing it right. So that
rehab is
that's daunting. But again, where sports science and sports medicine is today, hopefully we will see her get back to a place where she can be the type of player that we look forward to seeing, and she'll be able to, be one of those women to continue to lift the WNBA. But let's go ahead and let's listen to commentary first from Mike Wilbon and Frank Isola on Pardon the Interruption on ESPN, and hear what they have to say about it. Then we'll come back and comment, and then after that, we'll hear what Rob Parker had to say on The Odd Couple.
We're going to begin, sadly, with the end of the season for JuJu Watkins. The Southern Cal star will miss the rest of the NCAA tournament after tearing the ACL in her right knee in the first quarter of last night's win over Mississippi State. Frank, where does this leave Southern Cal and the entire women's tournament, for that matter?
Yeah, it's certainly a devastating blow for the tournament, a big-time blow for USC as well. When you think about JuJu Watkins, you turn on the TV, she's everywhere. Either you're watching her play, you're seeing highlights, she's in every commercial. She and Paige Beckers have become, the two faces of college basketball. I'd actually put JuJu ahead of her.
Yeah.
Just because it's LA, it's a much bigger market.
Facts.
So USC, it's going to be tough.
And she's
Can
a
they
better
get
player.
to an Elite Eight where they would play UConn for the second straight year? Absolutely. But you can't tell me that it doesn't take a little bit away from the tournament. Maybe they would have played UCLA at some point, which has been a great rivalry already this season. I felt so badly for her going down. And I also think the way that the crowd treated Mississippi State, I mean, come on, folks. That was not a dirty play. It was unfortunate. Players get hurt all the time. It's a physical sport. I get the emotion of it. Absolutely. When you see this great player going down, you see it carried off the court. The reaction, in some ways, understandable, but it's not fair. The player, that was just a hard play, nothing dirty about it.
Frank, I'm glad you mentioned that. And as we mentioned, I'm here in Los Angeles. A short drive can walk, as you know, over to the building where that happened. And I was here a couple of weeks ago to watch JuJu Watkins in person. It's thrilling.
Yep.
I mean, she is a star. Her stardom is bigger than just women's basketball. She's a star in Southern California. And to watch her play in person, I mean, there are people coming out from all over the place, coast to coast, to sit and watch her. So not just the tournament, but sports in general is lessened by her absence. And, given the time that she's injured, suffered this injury in late March, you don't know how long. This has often been a year injury. What does that mean for next season for Southern Cal? And I should mention that there is a player on Southern Cal's team. I'm not about to dismiss Southern Cal. And Kiki Iriafen, who is a star in her own right, who had like 36 points.
36,
I don't want to say in relief, because you know whose season is over, who doesn't have a chance to win, is Stanford, from where she transferred down to Southern Cal, because they're missing her. And she's another star in the making also. But JuJu Watkins, a full-fledged star who you can see all over your airwaves and not just in the game. And I came out here 2 weeks ago, not on a work assignment. I just wanted to see her play, her among others. And so Kiki Rice and others in the Southern California scene of women's basketball. And so it's really disheartening today to be here and know you're not going to see her again this season. And we wish her all the best coming back. And as people do come back, Paige Beckers, who you mentioned, has come back from a serious leg injury. And so we hope the best. Sadly, it ain't going to be in the next couple of weeks. 1,700
points for her this season. It's the second most by a sophomore. Kelsey Mitchell has the most. And if JuJu had played a couple more games, she's going to have the most points after 2 seasons of college basketball. Yeah. It's amazing, too, about USC kind of being back on the map, and they've become kind of the celebrity team. Because you and I know back in the 80s, when it was Cheryl Miller, the McGee sisters, Cynthia Cooper, the great teams they had, they haven't made the Final Four. USC since 1986. They haven't won a national championship since 84. Like we remember those dominant teams. It's been a while, and this team was certainly good enough. Now they can get to a Final Four, Mike. Whether or not they can win 4 games without that player,
without her,
that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, man. As they brought that up, you want to talk about stacked teams? That's stacked right there. Obviously, Cheryl Miller. The McGee twins, one of them was an NBA player, JaVale McGee. That's his mom. I think Pamela McGee, right? And her twin sister and Cynthia Cooper. Like, what do you do with a team like that? You know what I'm saying? That's tough.
I hope one of them don't miss the game.
Hope they miss the flight.
They miss the flight. They get lost on the way to the stadium.
Nah, that is loaded. That is loaded. But yeah, man. I think, we've talked a lot about how tough it is going to be for JuJu. One, as a competitor, to not be able to be out there on the floor with her team. 2, as someone we know that's going to be able to continue to lift women's basketball collegiately and professionally. And then 3, how much it's going to hurt the NCAA tournament, man. What are your thoughts on that part of it? We haven't really gotten into that very much as well. Remember, we saw the ratings skyrocket the last 2 years with, 2 years ago, LSU versus Iowa for the championship. That was the whole Angel Reese, with the point to the ring finger and the "you can't see me," where that drama started out. Then last year, Caitlin Clark getting her quote-unquote lick back in the Elite Eight, beating LSU en route to coming up short against South Carolina, man. So we've had 2 years of great ratings growth in the women's tournament. What do you think we see the rest of the way this year?
Well, big names sell.
Yes.
And that drives the audience in.
Yes.
Now, so a lot of people were tuning in. They want to see her, to see the matchups. You know, because not too many people, unless you're a diehard women's basketball fan, has a favorite, women's basketball team on the college level. Not too many.
Right.
So they're tuning in for the names. So just on her name alone, missing it will hurt the ratings.
Agreed.
But I still believe people will still watch because it's you still got some talent and some really good teams, and you're still gonna have some really good competition. South Carolina's legit. UCLA,
they might win third straight, and they're tough.
UConn is legit. There's still some legit teams on the women's side, and I might be a little bit biased because I love women. Shout out to Steve. The women's game to me is a lot more fluent, and you want to see those nice ladies out there hooping.
I hear you on that, man. That's just tough, man. Like I said, one of the ones I'm looking forward to seeing is Hannah Hidalgo, Notre Dame point guard. She is a beast. They don't necessarily say her name a lot because it's a little more difficult to pronounce, but she is a heck of a ball player. And we'll see what happens, man. But Dawn Staley has a machine running there in South Carolina, and they're probably going to repeat this year. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see. It's still going to be a good tournament.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to see the
matchup. Power.
So.
Yeah.
But SC still has some talent on that roster. They wouldn't have been the number one. I don't believe they weren't the number one seed, but they wouldn't have been a high seed if they didn't have talent, depth, and good basketball schemes to. That's
right. They were a number one seed. I don't know if they were the number one overall. I don't think so, but they were 30-3 on the year. They were a number one seed, so that's a heck of a basketball.
They were the number one seed. Y'all forgive me. Like I said, I wasn't prepared.
Yeah, that's my bad.
I'm normally be more prepared. I'm over here sounding like a fanboy.
Nah, you're good. I grabbed Laker Nation last minute because I'm definitely going to want to get his thoughts on the next topic, but we'll get to that shortly. But let's hear a little more thoughts on this JuJu Watkins topic, and then we'll see what we got. Maybe take a couple calls on that. But let's hear Rob Parker and Kelvin Washington on The Odd Couple discussing it.
Sports needs stars, and if you
especially women's basketball.
Yeah, and you look at all the success they had in 2023, then that goes incredibly. I mean, you look at there was an 89% jump in the national championship game from 2023 to 2024. Of course, when we had Caitlin and Iowa and LSU. South Carolina, I'm sorry. And so now the ratings, everybody was concerned about, they're going to go down this year. There's no Caitlin, there's no Angel Reese, there's no this, there's no that, there's no drama, per se. And that's not the case. They're putting up all these numbers right now, and they've done pretty doggone well this year.
It ain't her numbers. It ain't Caitlin's numbers.
No.
I don't. And now you could just find you some reruns of the Golden Girls Marathon. I'm dead serious. With JuJu not involved, I know everybody trying to be nice and all this.
Don't do that, Rob.
It's a wrap.
No.
Yeah, it's a wrap. I'm not interested.
I'm not a wrap.
I'm trying to it's a wrap. Women's college basketball tournament, it's a wrap. Because the momentum that they had going with Caitlin last year, JuJu this year, right? In her pursuit of maybe winning a championship or getting to the final. Don't tell me that would have been back-to-back years. Oh, my God. This really puts a wet blanket over the women's basketball tournament. I don't care what anybody says. I've lost interest. I'm not interested now. I wanted to see JuJu. I did. And you know me, I'm not that big on women's basketball.
Right. But you want to see JuJu.
I think Rob kind of has a point. And I think to your point that you were saying earlier, Laker Nation, unless you're a diehard women's basketball fan, say again.
the way he was talking is what I mean about being a fanboy. They only want to watch a certain player.
I mean,
he admitted it.
Well, so the thing is, a lot of people feel that way, like about the women's game, right? Because unless, to your point, you're a basketball purist or a fan of a particular school, you're not really watching like that.
Really watching, yeah.
You're watching because you have players that you want to see. So I kind of understand that, you know?
Yeah, but he's being disingenuous, thinking the ratings just going to drop. I mean, Juju's a fanatic. Wow, fantastic player, but
Yes.
she ain't drawing like that to drop the ratings to the women's tournament to drastic levels. No.
I think you're going to see a big drop. I don't think it's going to be in the toilet, but I do think you're going to see a big drop. But we'll find out, right? We'll find out in the next couple weeks.
Find out Friday.
There you go. But all right, that's what we got on this topic. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the number up here, y'all. 904-219-8264. 904-219-8264. Give us a call. Give us your thoughts on the JuJu Watkins injury, what you think about her future, as well as how you think it's going to affect this year's women's NCAA tournament. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
It's not all call at once.
No, we got one. Oh, that's not. My bad, y'all. That was a different call. That was not a call for this.
You over there running? I thought about to say you over there having the '90s ringtones.
No, it's not a '90s, man. I cut that myself. That's actually you should like it. That's Coast Contra Never Freestyle. They from your side, man. So you know.
I know a West Coast beat when I hear one.
I mean that's a mean track. It didn't sound like a West Coast beat to me, but you know, that beat was too tough to be a West Coast beat. You know what I'm saying?
Man, stop it, Bruce. No, don't go there, Bruce.